All right, guys, we are back. Up next, we have The Curious Case of Tommy Richman. Shout out to Luesta for the video. Honestly, he's like one of my favorite artists right now. Like his last two drops to me have been really freaking dope. And he's someone that's been kind of labeled as an industry plant, even though he's been around the industry for quite some time now as a producer and stuff like that as well. But let's jump right into the video. Again, it's entitled The Curious Case of Tommy Richman. Good signing for Brent Faiyaz. Very, very smart. Guy's dope.
Whenever an artist emerges from nowhere with a major hit, people are always a little suspicious. And when the artist in question currently has more monthly listeners than the Beatles or J. Cole, then that concern over how
That's because he's super viral right now. He just had 2 smash hits, you know? So I could see why right now he has more monthly listeners.
this has happened, and if it's legit, only intensifies. Recently, Tommy Richman became just the 6th act in history to debut at number 2 on the charts with their first entry. And considering how inescapable his track $1 Million Baby is, it's really no surprise. But with how much attention he's getting, people want answers as to whether this is a rare example of someone breaking through to the mainstream organically, or if he's just another industry plant off the assembly line who's being spoon-fed to the public. My name is Luesta, and this is the truth about Tommy Richman. I can't be the only one who was looking at Tommy Richman a little sideways when he first started blowing up. His explosive hit song $1 Million Baby was going crazy on apps like TikTok, and barely 2 weeks after dropping the track, he was already aiming for the #1 spot on Billboard's Hot 100.
Yeah, man. Going toe-to-toe with Taylor Swift, the behemoth herself, you know?
While edging close to around 40 million streams. And what's strange is that the song was released in one of the worst times for any artist to drop music, since it was debuted at the height of the Kendrick and Drake beef. To give context, this is around the time the entire world was buzzing about Kendrick Lamar's verse on Like That, where the Compton MC would take some pretty bold shots at Drake and J. Cole. For a while, this beef had the entire game in a chokehold.
Of course.
And
I think a lot of it is that I wouldn't say that those 2 songs would be competing for like the same fan bases.
You couldn't find any music media outlet posting about anything else. But in the midst of the back and forth between Drake and Kendrick, where every track was dominating the charts, somehow Tommy Richman's $1 Million Baby was making enough noise to be charting alongside them.
Yeah.
After Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria went stupid, Tommy Richman was literally fighting for the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100. And while some were infuriated to hear him, it was undeniable that he made a pretty decent song. However, this didn't stop the internet detectives from doing their research and figuring out if something fishy was going on. And it wasn't long before Reddit threads like this started popping up, with users saying,
"Since when did Tommy Richman become a little bit famous? I discovered Tommy Richman very recently. I saw his Spotify profile had 11 million monthly listeners. And I'm like, with that huge amount of people listening to him, why am I only hearing about him now?"
People forget that there's like over 300 million people in this country alone. And that's just here. 8 billion people across the world. There's artists that like I hear about every day that are huge, that I've never heard their name, that don't ring a bell at all, but they're like, dude, they're like multi-diamond in like India or something like that, you know? Or like huge K-pop stars, and they're going multi-platinum, selling like 3-4 million records, you know? I think there's a lot of bias when it comes to like the US like pop culture. I think sometimes we kind of overlook the rest of the world.
Industry Plant literally just randomly popped up in everybody's radio shuffles. It's now at 27 million views. How can someone gain this many listeners in weeks?
Dividing opinion more and more on a daily basis, Tommy's immediate rise to the top of the industry has now found himself in the crosshairs of some of the biggest voices in the genre too. For example, on his Hot 97 show, Funk Flex went off on the track, as well as everyone who helped to get it to the popularity it's now reached.
If you're someone that likes this song, you are a clown. I don't know what the rest of his songs sound like. I don't even know what Tommy Richman is. That sounds like a shoe store. Now we're gonna document this hot garbage. We're gonna play it, Bill. I know you wanna hear it.
Nah, that record hard, man. You just a hater at that point.
But Flex isn't the only one who feels that there's something more to Tommy's newfound success. As for Joe Budden, the whole campaign, right down to the insistence that it's the song of the summer, felt a little too calculated.
Y'all talking about the Tommy Richman?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm done with this. Please,
I mean,
it
is a big record.
Stop it.
It's out there.
Stop it.
Why stop it?
Cause it's marketing going to work again on you niggas.
Yeah, the market.
Of Of course, it's the music business, though. At the end of the day, of course, everyone is marketing.
The marketing might, that is the song on fucking Instagram
TikTok.
Reels and
It's
TikTok.
everywhere.
It is every fucking where.
So I ain't heard that outside nowhere. I've been multiple states since it's been out. I haven't heard it out, but maybe a hotel lobby. That ain't been song of the spring, a song of a month. That song ain't. Since that song came out, everybody been saying, "Oh my God, this is the hottest." Turn it up. We got it, big dog. Let's let it perform. Shut the fuck up and let it perform then.
Right.
Although it's all new to him, Tommy has been leaning into the controversy for the most part, allegedly responding to Button with a tweet that simply read, $1 Million Baby wasn't about you. As for Flex, he posted a TMZ article documenting the radio DJ's disdain for him, while at the same time sharing a pre-saved link to his latest single, The Devil Is a Lie. With industry plant claims now picking up momentum, the familiar question of whether or not he's a culture vulture or genuinely contributing to it have come up as well.
Tommy Richman is clearly placed here to see how far they can go selling black music consumers mockeries of their music. He's really an alternative artist just like others, and they know they can get their break in our space. Y'all will keep getting Post Malone.
Another fun little fact I want to share is that in September of last year, Tommy Richman's team actually reached out to me to do a promo for him on my TikTok. Who is this artist that is opening for Brent Faiyaz on tour? His name is Tommy Richman. At one point in my video, I show how Tommy had about 300,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and now he currently boasts over 40 million at the time of this recording. So what's the real story behind Tommy Richman's success? Is he really an industry plant the same way that Ice Spice and Forbats are? Or did he genuinely?
That's the thing. Like, Ice Spice doesn't really write her music, and she seems like way more of an industry plant. As far as Forbats, like his voice sounds so different than from what the records are saying that but some people are saying it's not even him. It's like AI generated. I think it might be him, just pitch shifted all the way up, giving it that chipmunk like higher pitch like sound. But like no, Tommy's like known as being a producer and a writer, and he arranges his own stuff and stuff like that. So I can't say that. But at the end of the day, man, once you get the machine behind you, you still got the machine behind you. If the record is garbage, I don't care how many people like try to force it down people's throat. It's gonna be diminishing returns sooner or later.
Genuinely earn his placement at the top of the ranks? Well, let's rewind back to February 3rd, 2022, when Tommy shined the spotlight on his come up in an interview with Lyrical Lemonade. It was here where the young artist from Woodbridge, Virginia tried to make it clear that music has been everything for him for as long as he can remember. I was always singing and took voice lessons at a young age, but nobody taught me anything. I just did it. My dad was a drum teacher and my mom was actually legally deaf, so she never played anything. So I kinda just did it myself, felt a connection to it, and went for it. Obsessed with all genres from a young age, Tommy's sound was influenced by soul, R&B, hip-hop, and punk. His first song hit streaming services when he was just 16, and back then, he was rhyming in a much more straightforward way than the approach he takes today.
I got these people in my head, they're always singing songs to me, but don't be too afraid of them,
hip-hop.
they're not in our reality.
Today, a lot of these early songs still haven't really been discovered, judging from the abnormally low views on his YouTube channel. But for Tommy, that didn't matter. It was all about improving and trying to find his own unique take.
How do you feel like you've grown since when you started making music?
I've just tried to put like the 1,000 hours in, you know? You gotta work like you don't even got time to hear what other people gotta say about what you're doing. I'm just trying to like curate my own sound, honestly. That's the shit that lasts forever. I don't know, if you're doing your own thing, like there's no way it'll ever like fall off, because it's like, it's your own sound. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still like learning.
For a little while, Tommy was learning a whole different approach to performance, studying opera at the Manhattan School of Music, but he felt unfulfilled by it and decided to drop out. This month, before I went back to college, going into my sophomore year, I made a song called Pleasantville, and a lot of people liked it, and I thought it could be something I could do. Then I dropped Melba, which was a breakup song about a girl, but it was really a breakup about leaving college.
Cool
At that
imagery.
point, I left college for music and
Metaphor.
started taking it seriously. I had to. When he dropped Pleasantville, Tommy did what a lot of aspiring artists would do. He spammed YouTube comment sections asking people to be brutally honest with the last song he posted, and although he's still repping the DMV area, Tommy realized that there was maybe a ceiling on what he could accomplish there. So, like the vast majority of artists who want to make it to $1 million,
Especially pop. Come out here if you want to do like that pop, especially pop R&B. LA is where
he
it's at.
packed up for Cali. There's a lot of passion through the scene back home, and I feel like it's because a lot of people don't get a fair shake. It's really hard to have your voice heard out there. That's probably why a lot of people from Virginia left, like Pharrell and Timbaland. It's kind of a key for an artist to leave their nest. That way you can appreciate where you come from. But when he got there, it wasn't anyone from LA that would necessarily change his life. Instead, it was another artist from the DMV who would give him the opportunity he was waiting on. After Tommy released his 2022 debut album Alligator independently through Boom Records, his talents began to get a little traction. However, it wasn't until he met Darren Zhu, COO of Brent Faiyaz's imprint, ISO Supremacy, that everything changed. Recruited for Brent's larger-than-life project, he featured on the track Upset, and soon, he was standing shoulder to shoulder with Faiyaz.
Working as a collective, like, I made the beat on the plane to the camp. On the plane. I made like three beats on the plane.
Crazy. He's talented.
And then I played it to him, and he hopped on it. And I knew Felix for like a while through the local scene. And then he just got off a flight, he just walked in, and then you're like, yo, Felix, ask something now.
By the time Tommy racked up 296,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, Brent signed him to ISO Supremacy, his joint venture label with Pulse Records. In an interview with Billboard, Faiyaz said that they simply wanted to help artists like Tommy Richman by giving them a place where they can be creative and grow their music worldwide. Their big goal was to do something special and make history. Suddenly, Tommy felt like all the grind had paid off, and reflected back to the days where his mother told him to get a real job, while being very grateful for the opportunity given by Brent and Pulse Records.
They're saying that from a place of like of good, you know what I mean? They want to see you win. Like at the end of the day, these are your parents, and they do want to see you win. And some of them, or a lot of them, don't understand like that world. So it's scary. It's the unknown to them, you know. So I could see why they want you to have some security, but like when you really want to, like, you really sometimes got to sacrifice a lot when you're chasing these type of like creative endeavors.
Records. Given the chance to join Brent on the Fuck the World, It's a Wasteland tour, Tommy was entering the next phase of his career. And while success didn't come immediately, the wait would be worth it. Initially teased on TikTok with a bass-heavy, distorted snippet, Tommy's $1 Million Baby immediately had the signs of a hit.
Yeah.
The snippet had
I will say that there's no rhythm in there at all.
Users commenting things like, I've been waiting for this song my whole life, and release it so I can have my speakers replaced by summer. When talking about the track, Tommy said this about why he thought the song caught on so fast. It was a combination of the sound of the VHS camera, the vibe of the people in the studio, how short the snippet was, and how in your face the audio was. The audio is really loud. I compared the audio to my other TikToks, and the one snippet is in your face. I think that's why it caught on.
It sticks out to you. Yeah, it's like it's jarring almost.
Eventually dropped on April 26th, $1 Million Baby was a smash from the minute it dropped. But he didn't orchestrate this whole thing by himself.
With the whole Y2K,
instead,
like, Renaissance.
He had the help of Post music group Sarah Ahmed, a marketing professional who held posts at Atlantic, Empire, and Live Nation, who claimed that she helped build him a rollout plan to build hype for the song. We didn't have much lead time to create a campaign. There's nothing out there like this. I think people are looking for something new, exciting, and different, and Tommy is it. This great song, coupled with sharp strategy and Tommy's determination, really carried the song through, and we have barely scratched the surface. If you're not familiar with Pulse, they have a deep roster and a massive licensing wing that's undertaken extensive work with huge companies like HBO, Apple, Amazon, UFC, and more. If you go on the
they're the ones that make money off of placing your music as well. They're publishers. So getting these records on like certain shows and making sure that certain TikTokers are doing stuff to do and making sure certain TikTokers are making content with it. Like that's how these people win now. Like a lot of these TikTokers and content creators, like they're on the payroll for a lot of these companies.
On their website right now, what's interesting is that you won't find any trace of Tommy on the list of their artists yet, enabling them to maintain the illusion that he is quote-unquote self-made. Racking up 38 million official US streams in a week, the whole industry was sitting up and taking notice, including hip-hop music business icons like Jermaine Dupri, who said, I can't wait to see what these label A&Rs tell me about this Tommy Richman record. He has less than 100k followers on Instagram and has the #3 song on iTunes. Released at the height of the Kendrick and Drake beef, this could have easily meant that the track went under the radar, but some people think it's the song of the summer. So as you can see, Tommy Richman is actually the exact opposite of an industry plant, and his fans are doing anything they can to make the masses know that he actually grinded to get where he's
been
at.
Working for a minute.
I saw this tweet that said, "Them Tommy Richman industry plant accusations on the way." This comes after Tommy Richman, I believe, made a #1 entry on the US Apple iTunes charts, which is unprecedented for his song $1 Million Baby, because that song came out of nowhere. But when you look closer at tweets like this, you learn that Tommy's been making music for over 8 years and that he's been signed to Brent Faiyaz
That's what it take. Let's say, what does it take, 7 years to be an overnight success or something crazy like that?
for about a year, and that he's actually dropped 36 tracks already before this one. So in fact, I think Tommy is a perfect example of the opposite of an industry plant.
This was made especially clear when a user on X wrote, "I'm putting it to a stop because I've seen Tommy Richman come up in real time." This was him like 2 summers ago, performing in front of like 50 people. He earned this. Industry plant is a phrase often thrown around for people who just aren't tapped in early on. Since the track's continued dominance on TikTok, people are beginning to get a little angered by the presence of the song. And with that, it's really not surprising why the industry plant allegations have flooded in. For some people, this has been crazy to watch. Watching the internet slowly turn against Tommy Richman is so interesting. People were eating $1 Million Baby like a strawberry cheesecake just last week, but it's pretty easy to set the record straight on this one. If an artist has been grinding independently since 2016 and finally got signed in 2023, they aren't an industry plant. They are just someone who worked hard and finally got their opportunity. And regarding the culture vulture allegations, it's important to note that while Tommy himself might not be part of the black culture he draws influence from, many of the people around him are. Y'all should do y'all research on Tommy Richman's team before slandering him, because it's a bunch of successful and talented black men that are behind that man's career, and I'm rooting for every single one of them. Does he have a corporate machine behind him now?
Well, of course.
Yes, but ultimately, this isn't really a problem. Most of the artists we listen to have backing that isn't even disclosed. The only thing that matters is if the track and his sound is really resonating with people, and for the moment, that's the case. The real dilemma that's facing Tommy is that even if he can silence the accusations, he needs to move quickly if he's going to capitalize off his momentum. And if we're talking about the journey to fame as a rapper on TikTok, I've discussed many of the challenges that path can bring.
Yeah, man. I agree. I don't think he's an industry plant. As far as like an industry plant, what it really boils down to is you take this person that really never made music, but they have a certain look, they have a vibe, and it's very marketable. And what these labels will do, they'll sign you up, they'll put you with like these vocal coaches, they'll give you writers, they'll give you the best producers, and they'll create this artist and sell it that way. That to me is what an industry plan is. Like Tommy just been grinding for a minute, and yeah, he has a machine behind him, but that's any major act, you know. He's signed. I don't think that's like a secret. He's been signed to like Brent Faiyaz, and the people behind that are Pulse is one of the bigger publishing companies. If you do your research, it makes sense. It makes sense. I think people are just surprised because you didn't see his come up. You didn't, or at least the 99% of the people that heard the record for the first time probably was the first time listening to him as an artist. But it seems like the dude was putting in work, and it probably just grew on TikTok. And the thing is, like, that record just blew up on social, and a lot of these people probably giving their takes. I doubt if Flex is really on TikTok like that, like scouring for these records, you know, or honestly, like even Jermaine Dupri, maybe are they out of touch, you know? Are they not just seeing like the temperature, or are they not checking the temperature on like these social media sites? Because a lot of records now are made for that. I know he's kind of trying to like, I know Tommy is kind of like go against the whole label of like a TikTok artist, because nobody wants to be known as that. It's the kind of diminishing the art, you know. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think he's a plant? Do you guys like his records, or is it just gonna come and go? What do you guys think? Definitely hit the like and subscribe button, guys. Does the channel wonders. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's like, yeah, man, the channels we're gonna hit 2K, I think, by the end of July, if not like sooner than that. But yeah, it's been dope. Hope you guys love the video, and I hope to see you guys soon.